Avalor. We are back for part 2 of our 3-part review of Coronation Day. So the last time we spoke, the Shades of Awesome had been released while Elena and Ash became trapped in the spirit world. So let's get started by getting to know the 4 Shades of Awesome a bit better, shall we? Chrissy, take it away.
Cue the music, baby. 4 Shades of Awesome. Introducing the Shadows of Night. Remix. The 4 Shades of Awesome. How amazing were the shades? First up, we have Bully, voiced by Mark Hamill, who brought his Jedi mind powers to life with a larger-than-life performance, showcasing Bully's chaotic fun powers. YOLO, he was voiced by Fred Armisen, who brought this animal charisma with voicing this little in size but mighty in power shade to life. Hits, he was voiced by Andy Garcia. He was a force to be reckoned with. Lighting, get it? Lighting up
Good one.
with his lightning performance. And last but not least was Kahu. Now, Kahu was voiced by Jenny Slate, and she gave a bone-chilling performance with that eerie voice.
Yes.
Controlling time and turning people into stone plaques. Now, I immediately thought of the the wizards wielding the scepter of light and night, what we see in the Wisest Wizard video clip. Did she turn them to a plaque too? Or was it just decor?
Yes.
So that was the 4 Shades of Awesome.
Yes. Oh man, and that song was so fun.
Catchy. Oh my god,
Yes.
so catchy.
Yep. Just it's great. So, Kika, I remember on the server you were talking about how the stone plaques had some symbolism. Could you tell us about that?
So specifically the stone plaques, because I was actually gonna mention this with the 4 Shades legend lore, because each one I was gonna say how the 4 Shades, each one represents, or at least I think, I don't know if this was intentional. The 4 Shades represent 4 different aspects important to culture and myth. So Hetz is the weather shade who represents the elements and gods, like the Maya rain god Chak. He creates storms. Yolo, the creature shade, represents animals and mythological creatures, which is their powers, much like Naguals, who are shapeshifters in myth. Vuli, the chaos shade, is possibly what I would imagine a trickster deity to act like. I also got to give credit to Silali on the server. She pointed out that how he resembles the creator deity Viracocha, or the Yukab, in the Inca mythology. His head is very big, and it's kind of his crown makes up that resemblance. Kahu, interesting. Kahu, the time shade, represents the detailed tracking of the sun, moon, and planets to keep time and follow important events. And I made a huge thing on how her hourglass and the Maya glyph for manifest, or the Maya glyph on her skirt means manifest or weave. And so I was ready for some time travel, changing time, something crazy. But I could not have been more happy to be wrong when her true power was revealed. The fact that she can turn people to stone plaques is the cleverest power I've ever seen. We wouldn't know half the stuff the Mesoamericans did if they did not record important events in stone for us to find several hundred years later. That one lyric in Kahu's part of the Shade song, fate forever sealed in stone. Wall carvings and paintings are literally history frozen in place. That event or that person is forever set in stone. So I can flail all day about this, but to have that as a power affiliated with a time being is genius. Props to the person who came up with that.
Yes.
Chills, literal chills just in Kika. Oh my god.
Right? And they're just all, oh, that's so cool. And I love how they incorporated little glyphs into their costumes, and that's really neat.
Yeah. And now that I remember, because I think it was Georgia, she pointed out Kahu's character design it how she levitates when her hourglass is broken, she loses her powers and she can't actually walk anymore. She has to crawl. And Nathan Chu responded saying, "Yep, like an astronaut who's been up among the stars for a while with zero gravity, her muscles have atrophied."
Oh.
So yeah, and I found that even funnier because like tracking the sun, moon, and planets, that's in space, zero gravity, and then with that being also affiliated with her design and how she can't walk, like, oh, that's cool. Like that's some my brain exploding
Right?
stuff,
The
mind
attention to
blown.
detail, eh? Oh my god, like Team Avalor. What? You guys are just so cool.
Right?
Who thinks of this stuff? This is awesome.
Oh man, insert that like excited epiphany face meme, that guy in the office or whatever, like like mind blown.
Mind blown.
Jack Proctor chills, literal chills.
And oh yeah, one more. There's like a slight side in as well, because like the shades come in 4, and 4 is a sacred number throughout different cultures. So the Aztecs believe that their calendar is based off the 4 cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. And the Maya believed humanity was recreated 4 times. So I thought also having 4 shades of the night was also a pretty cool thing too. Yeah, just throwing a little bit in there. Can't get enough, right? Just gotta throw it more.
Please do. That's so fascinating.
Kika, are you sure you don't work on the show?
I wish. Oh, man.
That is incredible. And obviously these guys are going to be a big part of the rest of the episode. And they're the real force to be reckoned with. They make Ash look like a clown, honestly, in comparison.
Ash demoted.
Right, Ash is like, okay, Mateo, are you sure that Ash is still the most powerful anything you've ever seen? Because, man, the 4 shades are like, hold my beer. So, all right. So, we've met the shades. We've gotten to sing and dance with them a little. And now we're back in the spirit world. And we see Flo screaming for help because, she's really helpful that way. And enter the top Banana King and the Zanies. And yes, they come to Elena's aid. And Bobo agrees to take her to the one spirit with the power to send her back to the living world. He helps Elena get free. And I love how Elena's just so like diplomatic, and she knows how to talk to Bobo and get him to help her. And that's just fun. Ash sneaks away. Whatever, it's Ash. Even Elena's just like, whatever, I just have to get back to Avalor. And I love the throwback to Spirit Monkey business with Elena being carried around the spirit world zany style. Oh, that was just fun. Just give her a banana crown and the look would be complete.
I do love that too. Again, with all like the callbacks to the prior episodes throughout the series. I love it so much.
Mm-hmm.
And then back at the palace in Avalor, Issa is still in charge, and she's basically the crown princess now, but she is excelling so good. She's like ordering people around. She knows exactly what needs to be done, giving orders, telling people what to do, and she's doing such a good job, and I'm still so proud of her. It was just so fun and almost satisfying to see her excel in that role and know that she can do it. She is a ruler and that she was meant to be a princess.
Yes. And she thrives in this role, and it was so fun to see. I'm sure we talk about this later, but we've seen her go from like, the cute little sister who absolutely needs to be protected, and now she's taken charge and leading, and oh man, it's just amazing. Good for her.
Hold my pen, Dulce.
Yes.
Funny enough, because I was thinking, because you guys mentioned Heart of the Jaguar earlier. Jaguars, it depends on which region and which culture, but especially in the Maya, the jaguars that was actually associated with royalty. So they were definitely seen as courage and powerful creatures, but they were also kind of like again associated with line of power. So so to have Issa have a heart of a jaguar, kind of a nod to that. Little things.
Yeah, no, I love those details. It just shows how much like just thought and care and time that was put into just really like tying everything together. It's and then not just in the show, but also like the mythology and the legend and stuff around it. Like those little details just really bring life to the show. It's incredible.
Yes, I totally agree.
It opens the doorway. Yeah.
Mhm.
And just as we've seen Issa give her orders, one of her orders was for Matteo to try contact Zuzo. So we see Matteo summoning Zuzo, and which I found quite interesting this time is when he used the spell to summon Zuzo, he used Elena's name, not Alakazar's, whereas we've previously seen him summon Zuzo with Alakazar's name. And when Zuzo arrives, and Mateo's a bit panicked. And when Zuzo arrives, he doesn't have time to help Zuzo pick out a hat for Coronation Day.
Oh.
I just love Zuzo. He's just like, okay, we'll circle back to the hats later. What's up, Mateo? And then Mateo obviously tells Zuzo that Elena's in the spirit world and can't you bring her back? And Zuzo's like, I can't do that because she's on the other side, I think, of the spirit world. So he has to go talk to the spirit in charge.
Yes. And I love, like, you just, Mateo's posture and body language here. Like, obviously everyone's worried, but I just really liked how that was animated. Like, he had his hands clasped together, like, he was just, like, praying, like, please, you can bring her back, right? Like, it's a moment of desperation. And I just thought that was, it really touched my heart. A lot of things in this episode touched my heart. So, yes. So, with that, we're back in the spirit world, and it's time for a spirit rave, aka the party of, well, not a lifetime because they're all dead. But seriously, like, this is totally different than Party of a Lifetime, but I don't know, something about Grand Macaw and his love for partying, like, made me think of Captain Chaloya and the crew of the Alegria. Like, pretty sure it sparked a new crack ship on the server.
Oh gosh.
Oh no.
They all do.
But
not then, now it did.
Right. I'm pretty sure someone mentioned it like just yesterday in the miscellaneous ships chat.
Oh, of course.
Anyway, but we see Grand Macaw, which we had so many speculations about him coming up to this. What would he look like? And I don't think any of us expected him to actually look like a macaw. Go figure. It's the simplest answers, I guess. But he is the epitome of a truly hedonistic godlike figure. His nest is the hottest party in the spirit world, and this guy wants nothing more than to have a good time in his favorite place, right there. I find him fascinating. I think he's a true neutral character, honestly. He doesn't care about good. He doesn't care about evil. Neither Elena being noble and trying to protect her kingdom, nor Ash completely being honest and saying, oh, I'm just trying to conquer her kingdom. Like, neither one moved him to action. In fact, he was fascinated by the drama. He's like, oh my god, and I love this little, like, shoulder shake he does. Like, ooh, drama. I can work with that. Like, that... He was definitely what?
Sorry. Okay, he's definitely a breath of fresh air. Like, not to say like all the other villains were like, no, like all the villains we had so far are like really interesting, really complex, and really cool. But I just really like taking a step back and showing how there's even a villain who's just not really a villain. He's just there.
Yes.
So yeah, it was really great. Yeah. To like have that fresh perspective.
Yeah, I thought that was really fun. Like, he is like as neutral can be. Like, there's a lot of I like to try to do like the D&D style moral alignments, and I always have a hard time picking a truly neutral character because most of them have either moved from the good to the evil or evil to good. But this guy, he's probably the first one where I'm like, yes, he is neutral, no question about it. All he wants is to be entertained, and yeah, it's great. So, we know that Grand Macaw is based on the Mayan legend of the god Seven Macaw, right? Kika?
Yeah. Yep, you got it.
Yeah. So, what can you tell us about this deity figure, and how is Grand Macaw similar?
Deity somewhat. He's more of a demon. So Seven Macaw or Baku Kakwish in Maya comes from the Maya creation story, the Popol Vuh. Before the fourth and final creation of humanity is attempted, here comes a Birdman claiming he's both sun and moon. He's full of himself. In one, you can definitely tell right away. This is the perfect guy to be based off of.
Yeah.
One version, Seven even says, "I'm great. My place is higher than others. I am the light." So almost word for word, what Grandma Ka says throughout the finale gives the clue to where this may go. In another version, Seven has like metal eyes and teeth made of turquoise jewels to make himself look better than others. The main idea is that Seven is vain. He is full of himself. Whatever he has is better than others. Grandma Macaw definitely fits the description. Possibly one-upping Seven Macaw by throwing parties.
Amazing.
Spectacular, man.
Oh man, he does it so well.
Holy moly!
Oh man, I mean, just the whole highest of heights, lowest realm. Yeah, but they did a really nice job of he was fun and interesting, but also just like, can he just stop now? All at the same time. So, I love that. So, Grand Macaw wants to have a little fun, and he decides to grant their request, sort of. He decides to send only one human home today. And the person going home will be decided by an ultimate Olaball match. And I love how Elena is just like, bruh, this isn't a game. And Ash is such a, I don't know, she kind of has this like diva, like, ugh, I can't even stand Olaball. And he's just like, even better. like a truly like evil villain like Shariki or someone would be like off with your head or something. I don't know, but he doesn't even blink an eye. He is like, this just eggs him on. It pleases him. He's like, oh good, if you hate this, that means this will be more interesting. This whole drama like pleases him, and I just love that. So Kika, this whole ultimate Olaball game is actually something from the mythos of that creation story and the hero twins and their exploits in the underworld. Is that correct?
Yep. Yes, definitely. It's so the Hero Twins epic in the Popol Vuh is the inspiration. One version is the maize god, the god of corn, is decapitated. So his sons, Honapao and Xbalanque, swim down to the underworld, Xibalba, to retrieve his head. The Death Lords try and stop the twins by giving them different challenges to face. The last one being Ulama, the ball game. Twins defeat the gods. They're sent back to the living with their father's head and plant the head in the ground. From the head, a cornstalk grows, and that's where the fourth and final humanity comes from. So it's the reason why the ball game is very important to Mesoamerican culture, because it's part of their history. Maya are often referred to as the people of the corn. Corn is their staple crop. It's part of their life. Yeah. And yeah, I'm about to ramble about corn. Anyway.
I think it's great. Please do.
corn everywhere. But back to the ball. Corn is good. It's healthy. Back to the ball game. Funnily enough, Grandma Cobb points out the drama between Ash and Elena, much like how the Hero Twins ball game is a reflection of the constant battle between good and evil in the world. So yeah, it's always that battle, and I'm glad that they had that, like a physical battle exactly like that reference here with the ultimate Ola ball game.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was truly good versus evil.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Kika, your pronunciation is just OMG, girl, what?
It was all practice, I'll be honest. I was about to say like something weird, like because when it comes to the letters IX to say eeks or ish, I guess it just depends on the region, but I've always heard it's spelled Eeks but pronounced Ish. So when Ishlan was or Ixlan was, there I go. When Ixlan was introduced as Ixlan, I was like, oh, I'm a little surprised I went with that pronunciation, but I mean, spelling it makes sense. So yeah, so if I say Ishlan, stop me or don't. I don't know.
It's so
But
fascinating though. What? Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so blown away. That's awesome.
Yeah, little things.
Mhm.
Gosh, I just love how you describe how you describe the mythology and everything. Wow,
Oh,
so much
yeah.
detail.
Hey, this all. I mean, mostly it's been memorized, but like I have my notes, so I can only keep
Okay,
it
we
so
all
much
do.
in my head. And there's so many different versions. What I read a really amazing article in the end. It says the biggest question you hear throughout different cultures is, okay, what is this story like in your valley or in your place of home? Because every story, every version is different. But that I will get to this later on, especially towards the end, how the themes remain. There's a theme that always remains. So yeah.
Yeah, mythology be like that, and
Mythology be like-
stories and lore in general.
Exactly.
So that is just a lot of really good tie-ins, and it's absolutely fascinating. And it just ties in to the whole story. So now, as we've talked about good versus evil, we see Elena going to pick her Olaball team.
Mm-hmm. And of course, who else did she pick but her parents, who happened to be in the spirit world? And I love their little reunion. She's just so happy to see him. And it's just like she's coming home again just to see them. And she also wants Zuzo on her team, but Mateo is summoning him. And so he's like, nope, no can do. And so they're really worried. And Elena says it's better for Zuzo to go and fill them in back in the normal world. And so instead, she decides to pick none other than the top Banana King and hope that all goes well.
Time for Ultimate Olive. I love seeing the Olive uniforms from season 1 again, but gosh, Ash has this purple one, and she looks so cool. I feel weird because it's a villain, but she looks so good in that Olive outfit, even though she claims that she hates Olive. Yeah, so Team Ash. It was fun to see Orizaba again, though she looks a bit different. I guess getting flashed down the spirit toilet and finding Zuzo made her not a fairy anymore. She's a spirit now. I mean, she kind of died, probably, but yeah, that's dark. Then there's Zapilote, who was also eaten by a tiger hawk. We remember that he got transformed by Mateo into this little small bird, and he blames Elena, though I think that blame is misplaced, seeing as it was Mateo who wiped the floor with him in that battle. But he kind of deserves it too, because, he blasted Alcazar, and I will forgive it though, since Elena Victim Clap is one of the best jokes in the episode, and oh my gosh, I love it. I love how Troyo tries to bond with him, like, hey, I got eaten too! Yeah, that was such a good joke, and I'm pretty sure the crew had a blast with that.
They said, and even Craig went out and said, like, it was we don't know how we managed to, but we got the network to allow us Elena's Victims Club. So
Incredible.
And back in Avalor City, the shades begin to spread their chaos. And we see the whole mood and the feel change as the sky is dark and with dark, moody clouds. And we see all this chaos starting with the rulers who are just casually playing croquet in the park. And that is such a nobility thing to do. Lil. And it's just so interesting that they are starting to show their true colours here. Esteban, he tries to protect their allies, or his former allies, but Kahu is the one that convinces them to have a little fun, while she takes him to go become king.
Kahu's the one with the brain cells.
She does.
Mhm.
Sorry, everyone else just be like, I mean, that's the thing, creating chaos and all, but she's got the plan while everyone's just goofing off. There's a really the back at the boat when she slows time for the first time for the audience, and when the sand bead goes towards the cow, you just see kind of Wooly and Heads just derping. I don't know, they got these derp faces. They just look so funny
They do.
compared to her. It's like that's just like the picture perfect. Like, yep, she has the brain cells. Everyone else just be there.
Yeah.
She
What
That
is
is
is.
so
funny about
true,
the
though.
sage? I think they kind of the sage give off the impressions that they have been stuck together for a long time and they care for one another even as chaotic beings. And yeah, so you got Heads, who is the more stern one, and his design even dictates that how he's the blocky kind of dude. But then you got Wooly, who's chaotic. He's actual blocks thinking about it. Yeah. Anyway, all of them are kind of chaotic bands, and um, it's sorry, and it's Kahu, the one that has to balance that part. How she is, calm and collected. She's all about chaos too. She wants it, she loves it, but she leaves a big portion of that on them, and she kind of enjoys.
Yes.
She's pulling
Yeah.
the strings.
She calls the
Yes, the
shots.
coordinator.
Can,
Yeah.
can we talk about how this is the third evil magical lady that Esteban's gotten tied up with in the series?
Yeah, of course. Esteban, god damn it.
Third
I'm
time's a
tired.
charm. Third time's a charm. Nope, not this time.
No.
Third time is charming him again.
All right, can I also say that I loved that Hector called Esteban mustache? Like, it was actually just it was almost a rather friendly greeting coming from Hector, who normally calls people by much worse names. But also, sadly, he was immediately turned into a butterfrog, and so, rip. But
Short-lived.
Rip or ribbit.
Ribbit.
Oh,
Ah!
yes,
Dun,
girl,
dun.
yes.
that is too good. I love that.
Oh man, what have I become?
We've been hanging out with Elena and Mateo too much.
Oh.
Now it's you, Georgia.
Okay, I'll calm
Back
down.
at the palace, the visiting princesses report to Isabel that the sage are wreaking havoc all over the city. This is super interesting because Doña Paloma immediately shows her priorities when she runs out on them, and her emporium is truly the most important thing to her.
Mhm.
All I could think is, as she ran out, was that there goes her chance to become the chancellor. Yeah, because I think trade is her thing
Mhm.
more so than diplomacy, really. She has some good ideas, but she has been working on that very hard all her life, and it's obvious that
Mhm.
she would run if that means protecting herself. Yeah, and it was such an interesting contrast to see Naomi standing up with some ideas of her own, which also plays a part later on. But
Yes.
Definitely. And then we see Issa and Mateo teaming up to try and beat the Weather Shade. And that was just so cool. And can we talk about how Mateo is ambidextrous here?
Yes.
Boy gotten good with that tamburita though, because coming from Spellbound where he dropped his tamburita to swirling it all over the show now.
Yes.
Good growth.
Now both
The little
hands.
things. Yeah, that's right. Little growth. A lot of growth. And is that another one of his and Elena's things? Wink, wink. Come on, we're just hopeless shippers.
Yes. Mhm.
But seriously, seeing Issa's fearlessness riding into the weather with the weather vane to create a lightning rod on top of Hetz's head, it was just so awesome, and it was just a nice callback to Shooting Stars. And that
Yes.
scene and the screenshot of her with the weather vane is just so powerful, and you can see so much growth she has had. So yay!
She did not hesitate once. Yeah, go Issa. I love it.
Although lol, when she's like, what's the plan? And she's like, to Gabe, if I tell you, you're not gonna let me do it. And she's like, see ya, I'll do it.
Gotta go. Good for her.
Elena
knows.
energy.
Yes,
Yes, exactly.
it's
I was going to say she very intuition with her sister on that one.
Theo Flores sisters.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, Hettis immediately lanced into the spirit world where we can see the audible magic still going strong with familiar phrases in the crowd. Crowd. Why to say crowd? Okay. Sorry.
It's Coronation Day. It's okay. Crown is kind of the theme.
Oh, yeah. Okay, should I take it from the top? Oh, all right. Heads is immediately launched into the spirit world, where we see the Audible match is still going strong, and he actually seems kind of interested in it.
Yeah.
With familiar faces in the crowd, such as Alakazar, Kakopate, and Shuriki. This is in the back eating popcorn.
Popcorn.
I freaking love that.
No one
Yeah.
saw that coming. Like,
No.
no one saw that coming. And then we're like, oh my god, is that Shariki eating popcorn? What?
It's amazing.
I think my favorite part is that somebody asked that, oh, why is Shuriki doing that? Isn't she like super evil? And Greg is like, oh, come on. She's like, this is not her battle to fight. So she's just enjoying Elena suffer. And I think that's very in character.
It's very accurate.
Also, we got Sansa and Zuzo, which, yeah. Spirit guides. I
Woo.
mean, Sansa is a former spirit guide, but
He's
it was
pro.
fun to see him. Did you notice how I don't know if we talked about that, but how the spirits of the ancestors and the spirit guides are blue, while the spirits of the dark side are this green.
Yes.
Yeah,
True.
I find that to be so cool.
Yeah.
Like you can guess who is from which side.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Anyway, Team Ash is fierce and seems to be winning, and that makes sense because Ash has this drive to never lose and always be on top. It's perfectly seen in that game. They're also playing very physically, knocking Team Avalor around. And Elena is furious seeing her parents seemingly hurt by her enemies. Like, yeah, obviously. She seems to be getting more and more rash and reckless with each push and shove.
And I thought it was interesting, like, I just was saying through, like, the TV, like, Elena, it's okay, they're spirits, like, you can't hurt them. But I love this part. We see, like, Orizaba's kind of taunting her, and Elena is, like, that rage face is back, and she's ready to murder Orizaba. And her father has to restrain her, calling for a timeout. And I just really, really loved this moment with Elena and her parents. And her parents can see that there's more to her rage than being stuck while the kingdom is in danger. And this whole interaction just to me feels really like just real and raw. And it just kind of lets everything out. And she finally has that talk with her parents that she probably needed to have a long time ago. And I don't know. It choked me up a little bit. Like, got me all misty-eyed. Really, like, hearing her just let out everything about how she desperately wants to bring those who had hurt her parents to justice, and to include Esteban. We learn a lot of important details. For example, like the whole reason Shiriki invaded their kingdom to begin with. And how Esteban wasn't necessarily like looking for power, but he was looking to follow someone who listened to him. So I just thought that was fascinating. And then we also see that Elena's moral of the story today, which will come into play more and more towards the end, is to learn from your mistakes and to do better in the future. And yeah, just thought that was great.
That's a really important message, and it shines throughout this entire special. How you can just even if you make mistakes, you either choose to learn from them or run from them and keep making the same mistake. But yeah, it's really great in that scene because he finally gets that talk from her parents, the ones he needs it the most. And Raul recognizes he has made mistakes in the past too, as in Esteban actually tried to warn him about Shuriki, and he was ignored by Raul, which is what made him even more bitter. And probably then Shuriki promised him things, promised him not to know, and has caused the angst of this past 41 years. But yeah, Raul basically recognizes that he has not always made the right decision. And that's important for Elena to know as a ruler, that she won't always be right. She won't always shine through as the as the leader that always makes the right decision and is perfect in every single way. And that's something that I think it's also a message to the fans that, hey, Elena isn't perfect. Elena is growing, and she will always keep growing, as people do. That's a very human message. And she really needed to hear it from her father, who she has been idolizing for all these years, thinking, hey, I will never be as good as my parents. I will never be a great ruler. And yeah, all the doubts that are weighting her down.
I thought it was quite interesting with how Raoul said that the reason that Shrieky invaded was because he helped like defend with an ally. So yeah, that was quite interesting. There's always pros and cons of leading, and I guess that was one of the consequences of one of the things. But I didn't
Exactly.
expect
He had
that.
good intention.
Every choice has a consequence, and it's not everyone. I mean, you're gonna try and go for and help the majority, but in the end, not everybody can be pleased. So there's that message as well.
Absolutely. And I liked also tagging on to that is that he always meant well. And so I think that's really important, is to realize that leaders and people in power like that, like they might make mistakes and they might, which seem really bad and have horrible consequences. But I think it's also important to remember that, man, they really did mean well. And, you know, that's important.
It goes for Elena too.
Absolutely. I think she's always meant well, even in her vengeance-fueled rages.
Yes, she didn't want to lose Avalor all over again, lose her family, her people getting hurt. I guess the most hurt she's been in a vengeance-like way is with Esteban, because Esteban on his own really isn't a threat. Like even with his magic, he has the teleportation powers. Yeah, he can use them for evil if he wants, but he has never used offensive attacks against him. So, as Matteo said, Ash was the main focus, the one with, pulling the strings and actually being a threat. So, I think that's what connects everything to what is happening later on and Elena's intentions. Yeah.
So back in Avalor, the battle is still continuing, and we get to see Ixalan versus Yuli, and Yuli wins. And we finally get to see Ixalan smile, though, and it's a little creepy because she doesn't normally smile very often. And this one, it's almost like, I don't know, like she's accepting the challenge and defeat, and it's funny. I thought it was kind of funny, although it was a little creepy.
Yeah. And then Ixalan goes forth to create chaos, and Vuli's quite happy about that. Because if anyone could do that, Ixalan can. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
I just thought about how funny at one point when she goes and creates chaos, you see her in the background jump, and she looks like a Mario character. Like the way her legs move, it just seems like she's like running in midair. I'm like, yeah, that feels like a video game character, like mid-flight, pressing A.
It's so funny. Yeah. And so, although I have to say, I am impressed that that Gabe and Issa and all of them were able to catch Ixalan and tie her up. Like, go with them. So, yeah. Maybe they were impressive opponents too, or maybe Ixalan just isn't on her A game when she's chaotic. So then we see Team Valanzo on the case, and it was great to see Val use her wizard skills again. We haven't seen that since Royal Rivalry, and we see the return of the sparkly Tamburita, and yeah, so she comes out and she hits Fuli with a spell and knocks him on his butt into a barrel. That was kind of fun. And then Yolo comes and sends a shape-shifting spell at her, and I did not see this one coming. Alonso protects her. He jumps in front of the spell and is turned into an ass.
The crow died when they were like, we gotta do it. We gotta do it.
Like,
it's kind of funny because I remember Pedro, the donkey.
Yeah. But is there a more fitting animal?
Yeah.
I'm dying. Okay.
So, boy, he has grown so much.
He has. He really has. So he did not deserve that, but it's still hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, okay, they all got something bad happening in this final battle, so.
Yes.
And things are just so truly chaotic in the city, but nothing compares to what's happening at the palace. Kahu has laid siege to the palace, and we can assume she's turned everyone in her path into stone. And oh my god, I could have screamed, but there's just a royal guard that tries to stop her in the throne room. and she turns into stone, and he falls down, and you hear like a bang, and like it sounds like it smashes. So like hopefully like he didn't die. But yeah, watch that scene. He like flips off the front. I'm like, oh my god, did he die? You know, like
He's shattered.
yeah, he did. I'm just like but.
I'm sure he'll be fine.
Yeah, like if Elena brought him back, is he like in pieces, or is he like woof?
Oh, I don't even want to think about that.
Disney Junior, so
Dark side.
Oh no, I just
I'm going to be calling you Sariki, Chrissy.
Sneaky Shariki.
Oh my god.
Oh, let this never die.
It never died.
And insert alarm bells right now.
Yes.
And she finds the abuelos in the throne room with getting the sword and the crown ready. And she's about to do them in when Esteban, he bursts in and pleads. He pleads like, no, Kahu, no. And tries to, he's like, let me talk to them. And tries to stop her.
Dun, dun, dun.
Insert freak out mode.
Thing broke my heart. Yeah, I just wanted to say how it breaks me the way that Francisco is saying, "Why are you doing this, Esteban?"
Oh, yes.
Oh my god.
And it's in this moment that Esteban opens up about why he's trying to take the throne and how no one ever listened to him, and he thought that if he just had power, people would have to listen and be able to take his words seriously and actually talk to him and stuff. But then Luisa gives him a dose of hard truth and basically says like what he's done and why he's betrayed them, and he's like, but I'm not a villain. And then he realizes that that's how everyone sees him, as the bad guy basically, and it's kind of just shatters him a little bit because he never perceives himself as that, and just to learn that everyone else thinks that's who he truly is, it's kind of a reality check for him, and he realizes just how just how far he's strayed from his familia and what he thought he was doing.
This is, I don't know how it connects with everything. Like, he always thought what he was doing was either right or harmless, or that he was making right decisions. Like he had good intentions a lot of the time, but he always strived to achieve everything through questionable means. And yeah, that ties in with the whole making mistakes moral of the show. But unfortunately, Esteban can't actually have a talk about that. Because Cajo interrupts and says, "Time to say goodbye." Esteban does not know what she means, but then she turns the abuelos into stone, and that crushes Esteban. He tells her that, "Hey, I'm the king, so you can do whatever I want, so turn them back." But then it's when Cajo reveals the crux of his cycle of bad choices that has been repeating itself over and over for nearly half a century. He keeps trusting anyone who pretends to listen to him, and that's such an eerie and soul-crushing line. Like, that's how he has been destroying his life because he only wanted to be heard. And first he trusted Tsuriki, who made false promises and told him no one would get hurt, while he would get all the power he ever desired. Then he joined. Then he was manipulated by Ash, who promised him that, hey, we're gonna have power over Avalor, and no one will put us down and everything. And now Kahu and the Shades listened to him and told him that they were gonna make his biggest wish true. He just keeps doing the same over and over again, and with the hope that he will be listened to. So yeah, that really is the moment that Esteban realizes everything wrong he has been doing between Luisa and Kahu. Oh, well, unfortunately, their service to him came with some severe strings attached, and now he's king with no love in his life. He's lost everything, and the world belongs to the Sades. It's pure chaos.
It's chaos and heartbreaking and just such a... I think we're hitting that like that rock bottom place. We've seen Elena break down emotionally, and now Esteban's broken down emotionally. And with that, we're going to stop here for the moment. But we still have one more part to come. Don't miss our review of the epic final third part, which will be posted soon. Thanks for listening. Until next time, wings up, amigos. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.